Today, we're joined by KPVI News that works for you journalist Cesar Cornejo, who looked into our climate here in Idaho.
Thanks, Matt. I took a closer look here in a three-part series dealing with what our climate is, especially given the fact that it is changing. Today, we focus on what exactly is Idaho's climate.
Idaho's climate varies substantially, right? We have dry, semi-arid areas across the southern part of the state, and then we have temperate, wet forests found in the panhandle of Idaho.
Dr. John Abatzoglou, associate professor at the University of California, Merced, explains that there is quite a range of climates within the state of Idaho. When broken down even more, Idaho typically sees drier summers and relatively wetter winters and springs. Eastern Idaho is broadly classified as a high desert, as Alex DeSmet, meteorologist at the National Weather Service in Pocatello, tells us.
Overall, we're kind of broadly classified as a high desert, which means high elevation, low precipitation.
As many Idahoans know, there are mountains everywhere, and they also play a huge part in our climate.
The mountains are the primary influencer of our precipitation patterns, our wind patterns, and our temperature patterns. So the mountains really drive the day-to-day weather and the long-term climate as well.
But how do the mountains affect what we see in eastern Idaho?
You have these mountains that are really great at sort of collecting precipitation, and they also create a rain shadow, and that results in some really interesting features, especially as you get to the eastern slopes of some of these mountains and then the lower elevations there.
Leaving areas in the rain shadow, such as the much drier Snake River Plain, seeing very little precipitation, while the eastern highlands see plenty of snow and support forests at their bases. There's another big role the mountains play for eastern Idaho, and it comes in the form of water storage. Snow-capped mountains aren't just a beautiful sight, as Dr. Charlie Luce, research hydrologist at the U.S. Forest Service, explains.
So that snow lasts late into the summer and gives good long-term runoff that helps back up the reservoirs,
giving eastern Idaho a much-needed resource throughout the year. In our next piece, we'll look at what changes have been recorded so far in eastern Idaho. Live in the newsroom, meteorologist Cesar Cornejo. Back to you, Misty.